Rob, it's the new year, and not that long ago, you explained to me how you were eating KFC. What were they? Were they crackers? Were they chips? What exactly? I forget.
This was KFC flavored popcorn, and it was
popcorn. Oh my gosh!
And I don't. It was awful. I mean, I think we spoke about this in the episode, but it was truly. Right. I mean, I took the rest of the bag into the office, and there's 10, 15 people there. It did not get eaten. Like a few people tried it, and it just went in the bin a week later because it was that bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to top you, Rob. I feel as though I've kind of let you down. It's been a while since I've really dug into the snack realm and brought something important and different to the show. So I was grocery shopping I think it was like 2 days ago, and I sent you a picture of some potato chips that I bought. These are Kettle Brand. Now, Kettle Brand are kettle cooked potato chips. They come in many flavors. It's a pretty good brand. I'd say it's a pretty greasy chip, very crunchy.
Yeah, but, we have them here. I agree.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we do have. Yeah, we have kettle chips.
Okay. All right. Let's see who they're made by. Do they have a big manufacturer behind them? I'm trying to see who. Oh, it's Snyder's. Snyder's Lance. All right, Snyder's is a pretzel brand in America too. But let's not get on to pretzels, because today I want to talk to you about the Kettle Brand Tailgate Edition 7-layer dip potato chip.
I don't even know what 7-layer dip means in this context.
First of all, I think you should Google that. And I want to start by, shortly before the show began, I opened this bag up before we got on the line, and the first thing I did was I took a deep breath to really get the smell of these chips, and they smell disgusting.
Oh, I've just Googled it.
And then I started eating them. Now, 7-layer dip is essentially the reason this is a tailgate edition, this is a very traditional kind of football appetizer. It's like you take refried beans and maybe guacamole and tomatoes and cheese and all different lettuce, all different ingredients, 7 in fact, that's why it's called 7-layer dip, and you layer them up and then onto like a big platter, and then you serve them with tortilla chips. And so it's kind of like a Mexican dip of sorts, I suppose, a very American Mexican dip, and it can be good. It can be good. I'm gonna cut right to the chase and spoil things and say it's not appropriate for a chip.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this. This is to the best of my knowledge the first time I've seen such a thing. But I could see how this could be nice with tortilla chips and stuff like that, because, as you say, it's got all the things you want, like you would normally have with the guacamole and the sour cream.
Right.
But I can also see that would be awful as a flavor for like an actual potato chip.
Right. Well, it's a lot of flavors being thrown onto a chip, and 7-layer dip is one of those things that people start out, they eat it. It gets very messy very fast, like the dish. It looks very messy very fast, and before long, depending on the weather, if you're outside, for instance, and it's warm, it'll get gross pretty fast. But when it's fresh, it's good. So I'm gonna do a taste test here right on the show. Very crunchy. And I'll tell you, Rob, I can taste the ingredients of 7-layer dip.
Wow.
I can taste, I will say that this reminds me of sour cream and onion chips. Mm-hmm. You definitely taste the cheese and the sour cream. They're also spicy, so they're a little bit like jalapeno chips or something like that you might have had before. So that's in there. I'm looking at the ingredients now, which also include chili, tomato powder, buttermilk powder, sour cream, onion powder, sugar, garlic, mustard, and cheddar cheese. Beyond that, it actually does, wow. It has black beans and avocado pulp solids Yeah, so it says these are naturally flavored, and based on the ingredients, there are more natural than unnatural things in this list, all dried out in some fashion or another.
Yeah, I love a good pulp solid. That's really.
I think that's. I don't know what that's the. Those are the bits that didn't make the cut when they were making the guacamole, the fresh guacamole. They take the leftovers and they make pulp solids. But yeah, it's it's all there. And it's a lot of flavor, and it's a little too much. I'll say it's not. It's. I don't know what I'm going to do with these chips now. I've had 3 or 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't strike me as particularly good for my health.
No, I can't imagine so.
No, I don't like them. So I will have to, maybe, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send them to the office with Jennifer tomorrow.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. They're probably, her office is probably about the same size as yours. And I don't know. I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens. They're in the middle of a move from one office location to another, and I could see them getting hungry and digging into these. So maybe, maybe they'll be a hit, but they're not going to stay in this house.
Yeah, I mean, you're really doing them a favor, if anything.
Of course, yeah, free food. I mean, who doesn't love free food? All right, well, Rob, you also you dug into another popcorn flavor this holiday season.
I did. So I need to start, because I'm not sure. Do you have such a thing as a Werther's Original? Do you know what that is?
Yes, we do, actually. They're like little toffee candies, basically, hard toffee candies.
Okay, so you do have them. That's good. That skips the hard part of this. So this was Werther's Original Popcorn, or Werther's Original Flavoured Popcorn. Which you think, okay, it's just toffee, it's caramel, whatever the hell they are. It was not great. It was fine, but there was, like, Werther's Originals have quite a strong flavour, and so it sort of left a very strange aftertaste in my mouth after this popcorn. But I can't resist an unusual popcorn, and I actually ordered these on Amazon because it was the only place I could buy them. Probably not worth the £3-4 that I paid for them, but it is what it is. These are the things we do for the show.
Well, I'm a little disappointed because I think Werther's are a pretty good candy.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I like Werther's. I like popcorn, but the two together is just kind of okay. So,
all right. Well, I mean, it strikes me as very much a kind of typical caramel corn concoction. Which I assume that there's plenty of caramel corn in the UK. I mean, I think that's a fairly universal.
I don't think we would call it that, but I'm pretty sure we have equivalent products that are very similar.
Do you know what they do in Chicago with caramel corn? They do a mix. They do a mix of caramel corn and cheddar cheese corn.
Oh my!
And they mix them together, and it's surprisingly good.
Interesting.
Yeah, you should keep an eye out for that. That's a very Chicago thing.
Yeah, that does sound interesting.
I have seen it elsewhere now, too. I think it's kind of spread. It's become, at least around here, I've seen it. I mean, it's not just in Chicago, but at least my understanding, and maybe this is just because I first discovered it in Chicago, but I think it's kind of originated there with a couple of popcorn and nut shops that were in downtown Chicago. So that's a mix that's pretty typical. Another thing, I'm going to go a little deeper on popcorn because I'm really thinking about popcorn now.
Okay.
Have you had kettle corn before?
I don't think so.
All right. So I think kettle corn is probably my favorite flavor of the popcorn snacks because it's like a lightly sugared popcorn. And a lot of times you go to a fair in the summertime, and they'll be making it there fresh, and they'll have these big cauldrons of popcorn, and they're somehow like coating them with a light coating of sugar, and it's quite good. I mean, it's a little bit like caramel corn, but it's not nearly as candy-like. It's more just like a light sweetness to it, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I think we certainly have like popcorn in the supermarkets that is closer to this kind of thing, like a sweet popcorn. But as you say, it's like quite a light coating on it compared to the sort of the toffee and the caramel type stuff.
Right. It's not like all stuck together like candy with nuts or anything like that. It's just kind of still popcorn and individual pieces, but lightly coated with a little bit of sugar that tastes quite good.
Yeah. Well, that I think our next topic is another one of our favorite things to talk about.
It literally goes back to the origins of Ruminate, I think, and our conversations about Nando's, because I believe that at the time that we started this show, Nando's had just come to Chicago, and now, sadly, I don't live anywhere near a Nando's.
Oh no. That's
nowhere near. I'm going to look on Apple Maps and see how close the nearest Nando's is. My guess is that somewhere like in Washington D.C. or something like that.
Yeah. Well, we while you're looking that up, we took baby Night to Nando's, and she had her first Nando's. Not
very nice.
I mean, she's 10 months old. She's not drinking. She's not eating a lot. She just had some chicken. But she seemed to enjoy herself, and we enjoyed ourselves because I always enjoy Nando's. And the link that I added earlier today is Nando's have a merch shop. Shop the drip drop, they call it.
I did not know this.
And once I've got rid of the cookie notices, because of course it's completely terrible. They have some sliders that have got the Nando's logo on. They've got a hoodie that just says extra hot. Some socks going on here.
All right.
It's yes, this is new information to me. I'm not sure I want to spend the prices. Like, some of this stuff is quite expensive for what it is.
There is a place called Nando's Donuts in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 100 miles away, and that is not a real Nando's. That's a fake Nando's, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that's not quite what you're looking for.
There is one 5.5 hours away in Virginia. That's my closest one.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a trip for you.
Yeah, no, although they do have Nando's peri peri sauce at the local grocery store. So I do have some of that in my fridge at the moment.
Yeah, that's always worth having around. Just to chuck
with
on
chips.
Yeah,
chips or whatever.
Always.
So good with chips.
This next link, did I add this, or this is a blog post I wrote about my home screen, and I don't know if you added it or I did.
I did, because I thought it was interesting. I like talking about home screens. In the new year, it's a good time to share your home screen.
Yeah, let me pull this. I couldn't remember.
Pulling it up. I should ask you some questions about it. I see that you only have one reminder.
There's actually 3 there, but the way it's blurred makes it look like there's only one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It seems to have blurred it black.
You have multiple very secret reminders and calendar events, I see.
Yeah, I think the funny thing was, I think when I took this screenshot, both of those events in the calendar are not even my events; they're like Jess's events.
Oh, yeah,
so
probably,
I was like, I can't.
I've been there. I've been there many times.
I don't go anywhere, so the chances of those events being mine are very unlikely. But
yeah, you and me both. Oh man! All right, so I want to ask you about one app right off the bat, which is Huckleberry. What's that?
Oh boy! So this is a baby tracking app.
I was going to say it had that look of maybe being a baby thing.
Yeah, so it's for keeping track of feeds and sleeps and poops and everything else that babies do, and you need to know when they've done it. It's not a very good app.
Okay.
But I didn't pick it. Jess picked it. I don't know if it was a recommendation or what, but she said, this is the app we're using, and I'm not one to argue. There is one called, I think it's called like Baby Melon or something.
Oh, no, I know which one you're talking about.
Yes, Melon Baby, maybe?
It's not Baby Melon. It's like something similar, though. It is a fruit.
Yeah. I will find it for the show notes.
Is it Papaya Baby or something like that?
Oh, I can't remember now. It was sent to me the other day. The point, whatever this app is called, and I will make sure it's in the show notes, the one that we're trying to think of. No, we should find it. I can't sit here and not say what it is. That's ridiculous.
I don't think it's Papaya.
Do you know, the worst thing is Devon sent it to me the other day.
Then I think okay. Look on Devon's website.
Yeah, I know. I thought.
I bet he's written about it.
Mango Baby.
There it goes. See, I told you it was a fruit. It wasn't a papaya, though. Papaya Baby. We know that one. Well, I don't know if Mango Baby makes any more sense than Papaya Baby.
No. Anyway, so now we've worked out what that was called. Mango Baby appears to be the sort of the best one. Like it seems to be pretty well designed. It's got all the features like widgets, live activities, all that kind of stuff. And I think it's like £10 or $10 to unlock everything, which is, you know, pretty reasonable. There's no subscription or anything.
Right.
But it's also not my place to start switching baby apps because, you know, Jess is the one who's here during the day when I'm at work, so I'm not gonna.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not gonna be switching. Although I think, had I been involved, that probably is the one we would have picked.
Right. At least you're not writing everything down in a paper notebook with a pencil like like an animal.
No, definitely not. But yeah, this app is Huckleberry, the one I'm using. It's fine. I don't know who makes it. There's loads of different types of subscriptions you can get inside of it for sleep stuff. I don't really know. Now that I have pointed out probably the worst app on your entire home screen, we should probably mention some of the better ones. Yeah.
I totally get you've got Messenger and WhatsApp. Makes sense to me. That's undoubtedly how you communicate with most of your friends and family.
Yeah.
Monzo, which I know is a banking app, that we don't have that in the US, but I know that you've done some projects to make some icons because don't they use like some sort of UK mandated open API that allows you to do stuff with their banking app to some degree?
So all the UK banks do have this API thing, but that's not what I was doing. So thing you're thinking of, that if you've got like a savings pot, you can put a specific image on, and I made a website for generating those images,
right?
I think we must have spoke about probably 4 or 5 years ago now. I think something like that.
It's a handy little online tool though, because you can use those images for other things too. If anybody's looking for ways to kind of, I don't know, deck out their Stream Deck or whatever it happens to be, that's a good thing to do.
That's a very good point because I added an option to make the icon square for exactly that.
Yeah. No, I'm always on the lookout for that kind of stuff because I think what people don't one of the things that drives me bananas is people who have this hodgepodge of icons on their Stream Deck. It just gives me hives.
Yeah,
and people use such bad images sometimes that are blurry. They're the wrong scale and all this stuff. And if you can find a tool like yours, or you use like, even if you just use like SF symbols, or there's a bunch of different tools you can do where there's like a uniform look and feel, and they're simple, and they scale properly. So that's my thing about icons and Stream Decks for you. And I have a Loop Deck Live, and I use primarily SF symbols, but I also use some of the Mac Stories Pixel icons that were originally designed for shortcuts and for OmniFocus. And I just do them in black and white because, you know what? I don't need my button pressing machine to be distracting me.
Mm-hmm. No, totally agree with you.
Yeah, so I see you've got a Marvis Pro icon here that I didn't even know was one of the options, and I kind of like it. It's I don't know how to describe it. It almost looks like an icon that you would use for an outline in a sense. It's 3 horizontal lines at different indents is why I say that, but it also kind of has that music vibe too. Yeah.
I think they have this, then they have like the normal sort of music looking one, and then a music one that's like on a 3D sort of button. But this is what I'm using. This is the one I always tend to come back to. I think because it's got a similar color to the actual music app as well, it sort of works in my brain that I'm like, okay, there's the like orangey pink, sort of orangey reddy pink color, and I can just jump straight to that.
Very nice, very nice. Well, you've also got a couple of reading apps, Omnivore for Read Later and NetNewsWire for RSS, which are both good choices, and both open source. The Omnivore app, it was funny. I mean, every time I talk about Read Later stuff, someone gives me a new recommendation, and I've been using Omnivore. I had not used Omnivore until recently for maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. It's really come a long way recently.
Oh yeah, it's really impressive. The biggest problem I have with it is their API is not as nice as I'd like. I mean, I don't really think that's necessarily their focus. But for what it does, it does all of that really well. It does all like the voice to or the text to speech and that kind of thing. It really is impressive.
It suffers a little bit from cross-platform design. I think the design has gotten a lot better. I will say that. The voices are the ones that are from OpenAI. I think they have like a program with some other voices that are even higher quality, but like the default ones are all the ones that are part of the OpenAI API. Which are quite good. I like them a lot. And I like that you can do the audio offline, which I really, though, here are my 2 wishes for Omnivore. I'm going to say this in a lot of places now because I want this app to get a little bit better. And it's really close to being like exactly what I want. I want those offline files to be exposed in the Files app. Because what I want to do is take the MP3s, which is undoubtedly the format they're in, and I want to put them into an open audiobook player. There's an audiobook player called Everyword that takes MP3s, basically non-DRM audiobook player. And I specifically want to use an audiobook player because they have the functionality of allowing you to pause partway through and come back to where you were, unlike a music app.
Yeah.
So I want to do that. I want to be able to get at these MP3s, and I also want shortcut support, which I think they're working on. I'd also like to be able to get, while I'm at it, I want to get the articles out too. One of the things that drives me bananas about Read Later apps is, and probably the best one that doesn't do this, a lot of them, what they do is they feel like you're going to go read in them and you're never going to do anything with those words again. So they're a dead end, which I don't like. Good Links does a great job of this. They let you export articles in Markdown and other formats. So I'd like something like that in Omnivore, where if I want to, not only can I get out the article itself, but I would like to just get all the metadata. I want to be able to say, create me a link list of everything tagged with this tag in Markdown format with the title, the author, the date, and maybe the first 2 paragraphs. Basically, I want access to all the metadata as shortcut parameters so that I can build stuff for, things I'm going to publish.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Omnivore, I don't remember if I discussed this with you, but they don't actually have an export option at all.
Yeah, I know.
I had to build a thing that exports them to an HTML file because I needed to do something just with the links. I didn't need any of the metadata. I just wanted the links.
Right. That's a lot of work
just
for the links.
Right, I had to build a script to do that. So, but it is what it is. It's it is a nice app. I think that they've done a really good job with it. As you say, there's some things that would be nice, like shortcuts, which they've said is coming.
Right.
So, but yeah,
it's very good. I mean, I know I sound critical, but I actually really like it. So I'm not trying to be too hard on them, but I do have my opinions when it comes to apps. You have Obsidian. Are you using Obsidian mostly for work or for personal stuff or both?
Mostly personal stuff. A little bit of work. Like if we have a meeting or something, I have a work folder in there and I will start a note and put my notes in there. But then those notes go elsewhere. Once I'm done, I'm not organizing work stuff inside Obsidian. Obsidian is purely for personal stuff, pretty much.
Got it. So are you doing like a Johnny Decimal system for your notes?
I am, yes.
Very nice.
Only in as much as all of the folders, have an ID so that they don't move around.
You and I have landed at the same place, I think.
Yeah, because I think when we spoke about this, I might have mentioned this, but the most useful thing I think I found is that things don't move if you rename them with the Johnny Decimal system, or just with numbers in general. It's been so useful because I know now that I have like a folder called System, which is sort of like metadata. It's just like an inbox and a few other bits. I know that's always going to be at the top now. It doesn't matter what I rename it or what I call it. It's always going to be at the top of my list in Obsidian.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's absolutely what I'm doing. I think that the power of that system is that it's the folder naming and the fact that it relies on a shallow folder system. So nothing's more than a couple of levels deep if you stick to the system. And I think that that's really good. I think beyond that, kind of naming your individual files with numbers and things, to me, that becomes busy work very quickly. And I don't know. Unlike a lot of people, I get rid of a lot of my notes. I aggressively delete my notes. Every single thing that one of my things for 2024, every article that I publish somewhere, I delete the note. I delete the draft because why? Why would I keep the draft? It's on the web. So
totally agree.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've talked about this, but yeah, I think it's a really nice system. I think it's done a really good job to organize me, and mine, unlike yours, is more work related, but it really has made a big difference in kind of being able to find things quickly. And I kind of I allow myself to create notes outside of the system, which just drop to the bottom, which is fine because that then becomes kind of like my inbox where I see like 3 or 4 of those stacking up. It's very easy then to just kind of move them into the appropriate folders.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's but yeah, I think you've pretty much covered all the third-party apps there, because it's I've got photos and messages, but those are pretty self-explanatory.
Yep. And you've got Ivory and Overcast, of course. I mean, those are fan favorites, of course. Ivory, I mean, I don't think you can beat Ivory for a Mastodon client. It's what I use mainly. I once in a while dip into Mona, but I prefer the design of Ivory overall. And then Overcast, I mean, nobody has better audio than Marco with the smart speed and what, gap skip or whatever he calls them. Both great features.
And with Overcast as well, like one thing I think people tend to forget is how quickly episodes come through. I mean, at least for our show.
No, they do.
Marco has an endpoint where you can actually ping it and say the new episode's out, which is exactly what I do for our show.
I didn't know that. I should do that for the Mac Stories shows.
Hang on, let me. I'm gonna
send me that. I had no idea because it's pretty quick anyway. I mean, it's literally within 5 minutes. I always go to Overcast before I announce anything to make sure that our shows are showing up, and it usually takes less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, because what I've noticed is that like Jason over at Hemisphere Reviews, he uses the Apple Podcasts app, and I'll say, "Oh, Ruminate's out," and 20 minutes later, he's still like, "No, it hasn't shown up in iTunes in Apple Podcasts yet."
Yeah, no, there are two things about Apple Podcasts that drive me crazy. It's that, and I never go back and look. It's just like, well, if it doesn't show up in iTunes, it's in podcasts. It may never show up because I hardly ever check, even though I use the app. And the other thing they have these marketing assets available for podcasters that include an iframe. And I use that in our posts on Mac Stories. It takes like 3 hours for those things to populate.
What? Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's not even the 20 minutes it takes the episode to show up. It's like if I publish in the morning, it'll be there by lunchtime.
Yeah,
pretty but it takes hours, not minutes. Yeah, so it's not like I'm ever in a hurry. But yeah.
But yeah, I feel like over how long's Overcast been around? 10 years or something.
Oh yeah, a long time.
And I've dipped in and out with Castro and Pocket Casts and some other apps that have come along, and like Marco or Overcast has always been the quickest in terms of shows arriving. Compared to a lot of the time I'm getting the notification before anybody's posted about it. which of course, like you say, people will wait for those to show up, but like it's always been extraordinarily quick for new episodes to show up, which I think is more important to me than anything.
Well, I think it's especially quick if you're fairly consistent about the time of day that you post your podcasts, because I think he's doing some sort of, back end stuff to kind of be on the lookout for them at a particular time of day or day of the week. So depending on the consistency, that helps as well. But yeah, it's good. I mean, and look, there are a lot fewer third-party players than there once were. And so hopefully Overcast will stick around. Castro seems to be on its deathbed, and Stitcher is gone. Not that I would have ever recommended Stitcher to anyone in the past, but there are just fewer options.
I am on I'm on a beta for an app called Untitled Podcast app.
So am I.
Oh, and there was let's talk. We're running. We've actually been running for quite a while, but there was the one I sent you yesterday called I think it's Cooler.fm.
I have to go check that out. I haven't had a chance to yet.
So just to give you a brief overview, you download it and you subscribe to your shows like you would, and it has the weirdest UI for the playback. Like it's these weird round buttons and there's no icons on them, but that's neither here nor there. But what it's doing is there's like a chat section for each episode. So like if for some reason we pushed everyone and said, everybody download this app, listen to Ruminate in that, we could then all chat. Like, it's an interesting concept. Even as I'm saying it, I'm like, why wouldn't you just use Discord or Mastodon? But it's an interesting concept nonetheless.
I assume it's asynchronous?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I put a message on like Ruminate's last episode or something, just to see what happened.
So they're basically have like a chat board connected to each episode that people can post to, and it's a neat idea.
Yeah, it's we'll put a link in the show notes anyway. I mean, like I say, even as I'm saying it, I'm like, no, it doesn't make any sense because nobody's going to switch apps just to do this, but.
No, but if it were to become popular app, having that kind of thing in the app to begin with would make some sense, because you're in the app listening to it and you want to do it in the moment. And I get that, but that's the problem, is getting people to switch for what is essentially a feature. It's a feature, not an app, right? And the problem is you're trying to sell an app to get this feature into the world. It would be neat to see that adopted by maybe Overcast or Apple Podcasts or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
not to put these poor people out of business. I mean, I don't even know. It looks like a cool app, so I'll try it.
Yeah. Well, as I say, we'll put it all in the show notes anyway, and people can check it out.
All right. Do you want to stop it there, and maybe we can talk about CES next time after it's all over? I've been steeped in CES. I'm still checking things out.
Yeah. Let's do that, because it started today, so we've got a good few days for more ridiculous stuff to be announced.
We do. I have a lot of reading to do. I really enjoy CES. I mean, I enjoy it most because I don't go to CES. I just kind of piggyback on the hard work of other people who actually go there and report on it, and then I pull out the things that I think are interesting and talk about those. Yeah, well,
you've already got one article up over on Mac Stories, which I'll put a link to. So
I do, and as soon as we finish here, I'm going to have a second.
Oh, okay. Well, I will. If it's up, then I will make sure to get it in the show notes as well.
All right. Well, I will race to get it out. I think it's ready to go.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'll speak to you soon.
Okay. Bye.